podcast is for. I assume everybody listening is
That's what the podcast
is going to reach out to me, and they're gonna hit me up and say, "Hey, I want to help you reach your goal, Josh." And I'm going to go,
I want to be number 272.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Let's go.
Just kidding. No, I mean, and that comes back to the idea of like, I should probably work harder at like doing that. Because again, I'm just sort of being like, oh, I hope 300 people call me this year, But yeah, I mean, it's about halfway through the year and I'm about halfway there. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Are you finding that it's, are you burning out from mixing so many songs so quickly? Like, cause I spoke with DK Waddell from the Mixing Music podcast, and he told me I think he told me in 2020 he did like over 300 songs, and he totally burnt out. But he said he got really good at mixing by doing that many songs.
I am not burning out. I definitely feel myself getting better every day. I'm also getting quicker every day at doing it. But I'm not like a huge systems and practices types of person where like, but I did just take on an assistant who's been helping me prep sessions and kind of take some workload of like other dumb stuff that takes time away from me actually mixing. He helps me with that type of stuff. So that's definitely freed up just a lot of like physical time, but also just headspace that like now I could sit down, have the session already prepped how I know I like it, matches the rough comes out my separate output like I like everything's exactly how I would prep it. But now I could just sit down. So my time of like mental clarity of having to get things where they sometimes take time to even get to is gone. So now I have all that time to just like put it into a mix, and I feel myself already mixing quicker because of it.
Right. You're straight in that creative zone at that creative hour.
Totally. Yeah. I can just get on the bike and start pedaling rather than like having to assemble the bike and make sure it works first. So that's definitely helped. Great. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm just still hungry enough to want to do it. So that helps as well to just keep pushing. But yeah, I mean, I don't think 300 is like a groundbreaking number either. I mean, it's probably a lot of mixes, but I know there's dudes out there doing significantly more than that even.
Yeah.
So
that's like 6 a week, right? That's like skip Sundays or whatever, basically.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I do 2 a day, so it kind of equals itself out a little bit. Sometimes, they're songs I sort of produce as well. So there's like extra time and energy that goes in. Sometimes they go quick. So yeah, the assistant definitely
not too many revisions, I gather.
Well, yeah. The revisions and whatnot is what does take the time, because then at that point you're kind of on the mercy of just the artist or producer to get their thoughts to you. So that definitely is what holds things up the most currently in my situation of, I could keep my schedule moving, get a song in and out in a day, but then it might be 2 weeks later and the artist is kind of still coming back and doing revisions. And like I could power through revisions pretty quick, but it's just the managing of people really at that point too that takes time. Which is, more of the name of the game than actually even mixing or making music is half the time. It's usually just...
Yeah. Oh my God. Dude, I always feel like I'm just juggling all the clients and all the projects and just trying to where am I at with all of these little things? Because I'm working at I know I kind of envy people that that work with a band for like 3 weeks and that's it. And they just make a record with the same group of people.
Yeah.
And then they mix it and then they're done and they move on to the next project. I'm like, I don't know, probably 15 projects at once,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm juggling a ton of stuff at once. But that's also kind of where the joy comes from for me, too. Like, even last night, I was doing like Audio Mover, like revisions with somebody, and I was just like, man, this is great. Like, they had some ideas, and I had some ideas, and we're doing different delay throws. And like, people will come over here a lot of times, and we'll do revisions in person. And to me, that's at the end of the day, making music in a vacuum is just not the way music was meant to be made, I don't think.
No.
So yeah, I am picky and choosy about who I work with occasionally, so like if I feel like this just isn't, the song's just not there, or even just like, I just don't know that you and I are going to work together, well, like, something just doesn't creatively match with the way our communication styles work. I just don't do it, because at that point, the energy is not worth... Like it's going to take too much energy, and I'm not going to want to do it. And then that's going to slow down my schedule, because now I'm putting this off because I don't want to get on a call, so that keeps me efficient as well, is doing things that I know I'm kind of the right fit for and that I want to do. And again, I'm genuinely thankful that I'm at a place that I could even say that, that I could say, no, I don't want to do this. But
Yeah.
anyway.
No. It's amazing. Yeah. And, hopefully we all get to a point where we can, everyone should be saying no to some projects. I think even if they're still at the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's
especially if there's red flags, but yeah.
I mean, that's, if I could go back in time, I would have said no to significantly more. Even if I was like desperate for the money, I still would have said no, because there's so many projects that just for my own mental health, like just left such a bad taste in either, just in my mouth for either that song or that time of my life, or even just like maybe a circle of people, like I worked with this person, but now I see like it just didn't go well and I knew it wouldn't go well. And then now I just kind of view what they're doing as just a sour taste in my mouth. And that's like, I hate viewing somebody's art through that lens, that just because I had a bad experience, now I think badly of all the things. Even it was just, it was our own fault because like, our communication styles just didn't match.
Yeah. I feel like everybody also has spidey senses, and they kind of, I think when you're younger or you're newer, you kind of have the spidey sense, and then you kind of choose to ignore the spidey sense.
It's experience.
And then
experience.
Exactly.
Experience.
With experience, you remember, oh, no, don't do this.
Well, that also, yeah, totally that. But also when you're first starting out, it might only be your third client that you're working with. Like, so you don't even know their communication style, or you don't even know how you like to be communicated to, But 5-10 years into it, you're like, I've talked with hundreds of thousands of people. I've dealt with them in different ways. I've done email, I've done text, I've done calling. Like you get a better sense for kind of the way that things work for you, the way you like getting feedback and revisions, the way that, things work. So, and it makes you a happier person at the end of the day too, like I say that all the time. Like I work with my friends, and I'm always stoked to say that. Like, I think you could probably go down my whole Spotify and I could explain the story of the person and just call them a friend to some extent,
That's amazing.
And that pushes the art forward too, to some extent, because, it's more of a shared experience. We both kind of have skin in the game. We both are emotionally attached to it in a way. So yeah, that's sort of the fulfillment that I get out of, what I do in the mixing.
Yeah.
Hearing my song play.
Helping people, having that human interaction.
Yeah. I mean, because
and that's,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're cool. I was going to say that's probably a lot of the reason why people keep calling you, right? Is because you've had those human interactions, and that's why they'll recommend you to a friend, or they'll come back and do another song with you.
I mean, I would hope so, because I'm probably not the best mixer in the world. Like, I don't get, like, that's what I was going to say is, like, I don't necessarily get fulfillment from like hearing my mix playback on Spotify. Usually it's almost just like, oh, I would have changed that or done that different, but it's always this sort of remembered shared experience of like being a part of the record with somebody and knowing what it meant to them and whatnot. And that's not to say that
well, your mixes sound great, man. So I think we're all way more self-conscious about the way our mixes sound than other people are. Like, I listen to my mix and I hear the things I could have done better, or the places of failure where other people just hear a mix and a song that translates. So it's like
absolutely.
Like, how the sausage was made, so you have that in your head when you hear it, so to speak.
Yeah, but you'll never turn that off, which is kind of why it's hard for me to like listen back to the music as much as I love the art that I made. Like, it's hard for me. Somebody was asking me recently, like, how often I listen to the music that I work on, and I'm just like, never really. I mean, I'll listen to it like the day it comes out and throw it on a playlist, and like there's a few songs that I enjoy, I mean, I enjoy all of it, but there's just something, like once you're kind of like the same way that I feel like artists probably don't listen to their own music, or if they do, it's definitely listening to it from a different place than if they were to like listen to the new Justin Bieber record or something, like there's just, because you're so in it, you can't detach yourself and become just a listener. At least I can't, but maybe some people can, but I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you got to delegate parts of the process to other people, right? That's why you need a mastering engineer.
Absolutely.
And that's why, a mixing engineer, all those things.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because you lose perspective so quickly.
So fast. Yeah, like so I was curious about like how fast you mix, like if you're doing so many songs, because I lose objectivity pretty quickly, and like I sent out a first pass of a mix today, and I got very good feedback on it, but I was like, cool, I'm probably gonna keep fine tuning this because my ears have lost. I'm like, I need an ear break, and I'll come back to this tomorrow. Like, are you like sending out like? I'm kind of mixing up a bunch of questions in one,
Sure.
but like, are you sending out one mix where you're like, this is the final mix? This is a mix I'm proud of. What do you think? Like, approved, or is this like, hey, can I get some? This is a direction. Are you vibing with it? And then also, how long does it take you to get to that point?
It really depends. I mean, there's two different ways that mixes have to get done sometimes. Sometimes I get stuff where like the rough's already dialed, like, and I'm there for the final, like the finishing stuff. Those mixes, I mean, I'll mix a song a day, basically. It's kind of the way I'll mix, like, and I'll have, a first pass either at the end of the day, or sometimes I like wake up the next day and get it out. Or if I did prep it myself, I kind of have like a 3-day window on it, because I'll prep it and maybe fader balance and then mix the next day and whatever. So either way, that. But yeah, there's two styles of mixes that I feel like I get. Like the one that's already kind of dialed, the vision of the record is there, I should say. Like, but then sometimes I get other stuff where like the rough's not really there. There may not even be a rough, which a lot of those gigs I turn down, because if there's not a rough, that usually means it's something happened along the way that somebody couldn't make a decision. But a lot of times maybe the rough's not there, or it's not a great rough, or the vision's not well thought out and it's sort of a little raw still. Those are the ones where it's not that I'm not confident in where I landed with the mix, but it's a little more open-ended of like, is this what you guys wanted out of it? I don't really know, because you guys didn't commit to a sonic thing in your rough mix. So that's where there's a little more like room for conversation sometimes of like, hey, here's where I think it should go. What do you guys think? And sometimes they go back and that's awesome. That's exactly what we wanted. Or, they didn't have the vision for the rough anyway, which is why they hired me, and that's great. And other times it's like, well, I don't know, maybe like we didn't really want the drums feeling like that. Maybe like it's more of had it envisioned as more of like a vocal forward record. And it's like, oh, cool. Okay, I get that too. And then from there, it's maybe a little back and forth. But yeah, so those records are always a little more open-ended. They're usually a little more of a challenge, just because, you kind of have to create the picture. Like the picture's not already there. You have all the elements of the picture, but you kind of have to do it. Whereas the other, a mix that I get that like the rough's already kicking, it's already slamming, already sounds great, like the whole thing's there. Then it's just, you're just making sure all the lines are sharp. Everything's, really crystal clear, pristine.
In focus.
In focus. Yeah. It's just dialing the focus versus like composing the entire image and getting the f-stop and like the aperture and the shutter speed. All that's already dialed. It's just moving the focus ring a little bit. And that's not to say I don't get records like that sometimes that I completely do something different with if I feel necessary. But yeah,
those are the records that people like to call like when like the mixer is a finisher, right? Like
absolutely.
In the pop world, at least, that's what people have been saying.
And I'm also at the point in my career now where it's like you start working with more producers who, you already know. Like, I've worked with a lot of my people are regulars, so it's like the regular producer. Yeah. It's like I know what they're going for. Or I know what the files are going to be like coming in, so I know what I need to do to get it there. Or it's just like good already, and that's part of like working in like an environment that I trust and know well and sounds good and is flat and like translates. Like I don't necessarily like do a car test or like question my decisions. Like I know what I'm doing in this room, so I could work really quick because of that too. It's not like, oh, I boosted top end, but I don't. It doesn't like feel as bright, or like let me put it on AirPods. Oh yeah, wait, what happened there? Like it's sibilant now, but like it doesn't feel sibilant on my Like I don't have those questions, so that helps me move really quick too. Of just knowing, what I'm doing works. I'll throw on AirPods, take a walk to get like a fresh ear break, listen to it on AirPods, be like, cool, all right, let's do 2 more moves and then send it out. So that helps things moving forward as well too, is just the confidence of that. And that also just comes with doing it for so long. Like even 2 years ago, I didn't have that confidence to trust my gut of like I know what I'm doing here, or I know how it feels in this room, and I know that's how it needs to do, like to feel.
Yeah. Reps on your monitors in your listening space.